If you're looking for something fun and easy to paint in watercolor and which won't take a whole lot of time, you're in the right place, because today I'm going to share tips and tricks on how to create a beautiful painting with just a few strokes using my unique drop wash technique. It's perfect for beginners and incredibly fun, and you'll be surprised at how easy it is to do. So let's get started. I'm going to quickly sketch in just off center, just a little bit higher than the middle, a little bit further to the right than the middle. Just going to sketch in the outline of a little bird. And it doesn't have to be terribly accurate, but what we want to do is make it look cute and give it a nice big fanned out tail, and then pop in his legs like this. And I know that they have 3 toes in front and 1 behind, but I'm not bothered about the absolute accuracy, the same as nobody else is. So I'm not going to bother too much with the number of toes on the front. I was just looking for the eraser on the front of my bird. Now I'm going to make this sketch available for free from our website. Once you've become an insider, you've bought yourself a $1 insider pass, which gives you access to all of our free sketches. You can download 10 a month. If you're not a member, if you are a member of our channel, that is to say either on Patreon or on YouTube, then you can have as many as you like. You just need to ask. That's all. So I'm going to put a branch in here that he is standing on, and I think I'll do myself a nice curve like that. Maybe we'll put another bit of branch there too. And we'll remember just to remind ourselves where the eye would go, in line with the point of the beak, basically, and quite close to it. That's where you get kind of the cutest look. Now to paint this whole thing, I'm going to use, this is my custom set that I've put together myself of Michael Harding, Daniel Smith, Old Holland and Holbein paints. I talk about this in one of my other videos. If you want to have any of these colours, I will list them underneath this video when we get down to that point. When you go to the description below, you'll find all of those listed. These are the colours that are in this custom set that I put together. And what I've done here, this is a particular kind of mixture. I've got all these greens. How many are there? A dozen different greens, because I wanted a set that had a whole range of different greens in it, just for convenience sake, really, because when you're painting quite fast and you want a variety of greens, it's best if they're pre-mixed. And that's something that I did want to talk about, actually, and I'll probably come back to that later, about the difference between pre-mixing your greens and using convenience greens. And it is something that is some sort of plays on my mind quite a lot, really. Anyway, carrying on, I've got a little set of iridescent paints here from MAB. MAB is on Etsy, MAB Watercolors. At the moment, excuse me, at the moment her shop is shut, so you can't buy them, but I've put in the description below, I've put some other different types of iridescence, and I did discover today, I don't know how long this has been available, but Kuretake have now got a set of 24 iridescent colours, which I'm going to try and get my hands on, because that sounds quite nice. Now, I'm not going to do a background to this, because today this is all about the bird and the leaves. And the leaves are going to be done freehand. I'm going to do them spontaneously with a fairly large brush to start with. And then I'll probably go down to a slightly smaller brush for some smaller leaves and perhaps the stem. There's a lot of shadow, I'm sorry about that, on the painting at the moment. And that is because the sun has come out for the first time in about 2.5 years. We've suddenly got sunshine. I'm going to keep the leaves very simple, and what I'm aiming for is going to be something along these lines. So we're just going to do a spray of random, nothing specific in terms of botanical name or anything like that. I am going to work from this set here. I've got a little palette here. Oh, and I've also got this little dish, which has got all mixed up now. It's got indigo, it's got core phthalo blue, it's got black, and this one actually, this is hematite, which is a granulating black from Daniel Smith, which is really nice to have as well. And I don't know whether I'm going to use any of those, but I have been using them quite a bit in quite a few paintings recently. So I'll put those also in the description below. So let's pick up, first of all, some quinacridone gold, which is one of my favorite places to start. And the reason why is because it's a lovely color. So I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to do a leaf here, and just in the usual way that I do my leaves, just pressing down, pulling down, and letting it do its own thing. And so we'll do another one here. And what I want to do is let them mix and mingle. And in order to get the best possible color variety, I'm going to dip into different greens as we go down. I'm going to go along here at random and mix in a little bit of quinacridone gold as and when I feel I need it to lighten things up. And sometimes we might want to pick up some really dark, some black like that, and just drop that in and let that run. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do all the way along here. Now, meanwhile, I'll come back to that. Meanwhile, we're having a look at the bird, and I'm going to swap down to a slightly smaller brush, if I can find one, which I know I have here somewhere. Let me see. The one I was using was a size 10, I think, round. This is actually a Drawwell brush, and the information about buying those from Japan is in the description below. But let's use a slightly smaller one for this bird. This is also Drawwell. This is a Maestro from Drawwell. So I'm just going to wet the bird, and we did this technique the other day, last week actually, and I showed you how to do basically a drop wash, is what I call it. I don't know if I invented that or somebody else did, but what you're doing is you're going to make the whole bird quite damp, quite wet actually, so that the water is standing up a little bit above the surface. And don't let it dry, don't let it soak in, don't let any of those things happen. Just make sure that you've covered the whole bird. Don't do his legs though. So just do his head, his body and his tail, and his wing is kind of incorporated in. And then I'm going to do him basically in two colours. And I think I'll do him in green on the top. And I think we'll make that what colour shall we use? Shall we use not a yellowish green? I want something quite strong, not that strong. Got so many greens here. That one will do. This one is shadow green, I believe. And I think that's from Holbein. So that'll do. And I'm going to put that in, first of all, around the whole bird at the top half. Just drop that in, maybe lift it up and let it run down a little bit. And then for his tummy, I'm going to pick up quinacridone gold and drop that in. And you can see that it moves around quite a lot. A little bit up here too. And I'm not doing any brush strokes to speak of really. I'm just letting the paint move around. And then we will pick up, I think I'll pick up some hematite, because that's going to give me a little bit of granulation with any luck. The one that I showed you in my first example, I'd used blue, but let's try hematite. Need a fair amount of water to get that activated because it's been sitting there a little while. And then this is what we call pumping, so just dabbing like that and letting the colour move in. And it will bleed down to a certain extent. I just want to make the top of his head a little bit smoother there. And then we will have to let it dry, and it'll dry in its own way and in its own time. Last thing you want to do on this, you don't want to use a hairdryer or a drying tool or anything like that, because that would spoil the effect. And I want to put in some iridescence. Now you could, if you haven't got this, one thing that you could do is you could buy, it's going to take me a little while just to get this activated because I forgot to do it before we started, but I'll talk. There's another kind of thing that you can use, which is this iridescent medium. And if you don't want to buy a set of iridescent paints, then you could just buy this. This is about $7, I think. And what it is, as you can see from the bottle, that's what it looks like inside. It's a shiny mica-containing liquid, and you can mix it with any watercolor, or you can paint it over the top. So that's another way of achieving a similar kind of look. So now what I'm going to do is into this, I'm going to drop some of my iridescent green here. And it doesn't look anything when it's all wet. But when it's dry, with any luck, if it works out like the other one did that I did last week, you should get a nice shiny sort of effect on top of the colours underneath. And you can already see a little bit of iridescence, and you can also start to see, if that's focused, I'm not sure if it is, the granulation from the hematite. Okay. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could mop up some of that area down there. You could suck that up with a thirsty brush. But you don't have to, because it will all go away in the end. But you could do that. So I'm going to let that happen. And now I'll carry on with my leaves. Try not to put my hand all over the bird. Let's find some more quinacridone gold. Now, I want to say about brushes that you might find that you have to try lots of different brushes before you find one that you're happy with for painting your leaves, because they're all different. And even if you bought the same brush twice from the same manufacturer, you probably would find there was a difference. So yes, you need to think about that. The other thing you need to think about is when you paint wet into wet, do you actually want that to happen? And in this particular case, no, I don't. So I want to let those ones dry, and I'll come back. And I thought that would already be dry, to be honest, but it isn't. Never mind, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my big size 10, because why not? And we'll put some nice big leaves in. Otherwise it'll take me forever to get down this page, won't it? And I think as I get towards the bird, I might want to make the leaves a little bit smaller. You have a choice as well. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? You have a choice. Yes, you do. Oh, whether or not to embellish. Yes, exactly. You might decide that you want to use some pen and ink and stuff. Or white pen, for example, if you can make one work. Or you might decide to just leave them pure watercolor. And often I think to myself, well, I'll do it more than once. I've painted lots of paintings, the same kind of painting, more than once. This week I've been doing lots and lots and lots of flowers, actually. I don't paint many flowers on YouTube because the algorithm doesn't like my flowers. I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to put the hairdryer on now, on the leaves, because I want to go over the top with some darker ones, I think. Okay, so let's pick up some hematite and see what happens when we mix that with some green. I want it quite dark. And let's do a few sort of skinny leaves, just for the fun of it. Nice and dark. Perhaps I'll put some black, or I'm not sure if that's black there or blue now. It's probably black. If you can bring yourself to come in with a darker colour like that, you will find you get a more satisfying result, I think. Well, I think. Even if you only sort of make them appear as if they're behind, like that, you can, if you're reasonably careful, you can give the impression that the leaf is behind. Okay, so best thing to do, to be honest, is to play around. 9 times out of 10, that ends up being the best option. Okay, and if you do nice dark ones like this, they are perfect for going over with a bit of gold or white as a background to gold or white. They work very well. And I'll just make the stalk a bit darker in places. Yeah, because I probably will come in and do some veins, you know, in the centres of some of these leaves. It always makes them look a little bit better. So something like that. It's always a bit risky with the brush because until you've had a bit of practice, you sometimes will get a very bad result doing that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so let's leave that like that for the minute. And go back to the bird. I think he's dry, very nearly. Let me just dry him off. I'm not very happy with the colour of those. So my suggestion, if you manage to paint something and you don't like the colour of it, try changing the colour. And the thing with quinacridone gold is that it's a transparent colour. This is a trick, or a tip, if you like. Is a transparent colour, so you can paint over what's underneath and it will change the tone, change the colour, change the hue. And if you feel like you've not got enough of the gold colour down here too, then you can just come in with the same colour and go over the top of some of them, and that will just brighten the whole thing up. Okay, So back to the bird, and I need a small brush. So I'm going to use a small brush. And I'm going to take my eraser as well. As long as this is dry, we can now rub out any pencil lines that are showing. Let's put in his legs. We'll give him, what colour legs do you think? Wants to be a bit of a contrast, doesn't it? So I don't know. What colour does a bird have for its legs? Not green. You don't really see the colour of their legs. I think they're probably, if anything, sort of on the reddish side, so brown, really. Yeah, that'll do. And then the beak, probably orange. You could do that gold if you wanted to. Don't like that brush. I'm going to put, like I did on the other one that we did last week, I'm going to put some floral decorations down here on his chest. Or her. So just a couple of flowers, just the same. I'm going to do just the same. And with a bit of green, come over the top with some leaves. Okay, and I'm going to find my black pen to put in an eye, and then a white one just to put the light in the eye like that. Okay, and then with the white, we could, if it works, we could do some embellishments. I quite like the idea of the pearl necklace on the bird. I think that's really rather sweet. Something like that. It's a little bit different from last week, so I'm just outlining these leaves. And then with my black, I will emphasize the legs a little bit, so they're a bit more structured. And we can do 2 toes in the front and 1 in the back. I think that's probably okay. It might go around the outside edge a little bit. That helps to cover up any pencil lines and gives a slightly more romantic look as well. I'll try not to spoil the line of her head because that actually worked out quite well. Then with the same pen, you could go into some of your leaves and just do a few more embellishments. And you could, if you wanted to, some people like to do this, you could add lots of veins and things and really spend quite a lot of time embellishing, or just pick a few and, you know, make lots of veins on just a few, leave most of them more or less blank. So say, for example, that one, which is a bit boring, you could make that more interesting. Okay, and maybe we might put a few dots in white on some of them. You can use your own imagination to personalize what you do. And you don't want to copy me and you don't want to copy anyone else. I hope that what you do when you watch one of these videos is you learn something that you didn't know before, and you go away and try it out, improve it, do it a different way, just have fun or whatever. But never try to absolutely copy anything you see, because it won't please you. At least that's my theory anyway. I watch a lot of other people's work and try to learn from it and incorporate what I see into whatever comes out the end of my hand, because my fingers are different from other people's and I can't do things they can, and vice versa. So we all have to do our own thing, don't we? And to me, that looks pretty much finished by now. It's kind of fun. And what have we done? We've used a whole bunch of ready-made greens and we've mixed them all together, smushed them in with some quinacridone gold to give us a nice bright result. The bird is pretty much in the same kind of tonality, the same kind of colours, so she's sitting there happily coordinating with her leaves. And so that's that then. You could put 2 or 3 of them on a similar kind of branch, and that would make a lovely picture. And I hope you give it a try. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And say bye-bye to Mrs. Jenny Wren for the minute. And we'll be back with more birds soon, and lots of other things too, no doubt. Don't forget to look in the description below for information about things that you might want to buy for yourself. If you use one of our links, that's very helpful to us. So I'll let you go. Hope to see you over on the website picking up a sketch or something like that. We've got loads and loads, hundreds and hundreds of them, all for you to enjoy and use. So I'll let you go now, and I'll see you again soon. So bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.